Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you. So another video in my Steroids, the series, and today's topic is going to be, should I blast and cruise? But before we get into that, I just want to thank everybody that's been supporting the channel. You guys are absolutely amazing and I appreciate it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and make sure after you do to click that bell icon so you get all of the updates every time I upload new content. And if you would, please hit that like button if you're enjoying the channel. It goes a million miles in helping the channel grow, and I'm only going to produce more and more content for you, which is why you're here. So please help that channel to grow and know how much I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Now, let's jump right in and talk about, should I blast and cruise? Now, one of the things that is very troublesome to me that I see constantly is people regurgitating and passing on that once you run one cycle, you cannot recover and that you should just blast and cruise. That is so far from the truth and so wrong. Now, I will say this. There are people that either run their cycles improperly, make heavy mistakes, and put themselves in a position where they may need TRT, or after running several cycles over many years, you are going to have a harder time recovering, even with a stringent and strong PCT, dependent upon the person, because we are all so very different. So if you get to that point after time, or that you find that you're not recovering, and that, look, some people are just going to have those issues and they're never going to recover properly. You're going to be stuck with hypogonadal condition or low testosterone, and if that's the case, and listen, after you hit 30, your levels are going to start to decline regardless. Some people's a lot slower or faster than others. Then it's something to think about. But I see guys that think in their 20s, and I really am hesitant to even comment on that because I don't care for people using steroids in their 20s, at least early 20s especially, that they should just blast and cruise because so-and-so said so. And people don't understand what goes along with TRT and blasting and cruising. You have to remember something. TRT is for life, all right? That means that you're going to be injecting for the rest of your life. Now, that can have ramifications on you in the future. Like for me, I was one of those people that didn't listen to my own advice, went ahead and did exactly what I'm telling you not to do. And what did that get me? Well, the annoyance of injecting all the time, which I can't stand. But beyond that, I hate to say gave me the complete inability to have kids, but gave me a 0 sperm count, which made it very, very hard and next to impossible to have kids, to the point where me and my wife decided, no, it's too late now because we're at that age where it's too risky, because me being 39 is not the end of the world, but her being 43 and us not being able to conceive all this time, you know, it's just not going to happen. It's not in the cards. It is what it is, but I caused that, and it's something that I have to live with now forever. There are other things where, you know, early steroid use for people in their 20s can cause problems later on, and I'll get into that in another video, but these are things that you need to think about. And while certain things may not be important to you at a certain age, like they weren't for me, I'll tell you what, everything changes when you get older. Even in just a year, even in just a few months, things change. You think they won't. We all think that. We all know everything in our 20s. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but that's not what this is for. My point is that your mind and your thoughts, you may think won't change, but they will. It could be that you meet your future wife, husband, whatever. It could be a number of things, but different factors in life change your way of thinking and just maturing and growing up. We all go through it at certain points. So you have to think about these things. You should never just, for the hell of it, just start blasting and cruising. You may decide in a couple years, oh, I don't like this, I want to stop. Chances are very, very high you will never recover, and you're just going to have to stay on it. Listen, if you blast and cruise 2 or 3 years, I'm not going to tell you it's impossible to recover, but if we're being real with one another, I think most of us that are even semi-experienced know chances are very, very low. I can sit here and tell you everything that you want to hear, and that you have this, you could try this, 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 and this, but chances are low. All right. If you run actual full post-cycle therapies, not just Clomid or just Novadex or just those two, and understand that post-cycle therapy requires more to it for a full recovery, you'll have a better chance of recovering more so and being able to do this for a longer period of time and things of that nature, you'll definitely put yourself in a much better position. That I can assure you. But look, over time and over cycles, depending on what you run, how high, how heavy, it's going to hit at different times where eventually you're going to probably have to look at TRT after several cycles. Some people just a few. And like I said, it depends on the person. It depends on what kind of cycles you're running, how long, how high. There's so many factors. I can't tell you, I'm not a psychic. But what I can tell you is you don't want to just jump right into that and start doing it and just start, blasting and cruising and things like that. It is not a recipe for success for your health long term. It may be for gains, but gains are not going to make you live longer or enjoy life later on. And while many of us like to live in the moment, trust me when I tell you, long-term thinking is very, very important, especially when it comes to like using compounds like this. You've got to think long-term, and it's very difficult, especially at a younger age, to do that. Not saying that you don't, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, because there are plenty of people in their 20s that I think are much smarter than people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s as well. But from what I've observed and what I've seen, we're more apt in our 20s and even 30s, and some people forever, to make rash decisions and not think long-term. There's times for short-term thinking and times for long-term thinking. And when it comes to health and longevity, you want to think long-term. And just jumping in and blasting and cruising just because somebody's telling you that you'll never recover and things like that, it's not a good look. There's circumstances that call for it and circumstances that do not. And you need to not do it until you absolutely need to do it. I know firsthand from my own mistakes, but I know way more from all the coaching I've done over all these years. I get tasked with this concept and problem so much, and that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video. So it's not from my experience, it's from thousands of people over the years that I've coached and helped and watched suffer, complain, even cry. You name it, I've seen it, and I want to help prevent it with everybody. There's a time and a place for it, and there's a time and a place not for it. And you have to understand and learn that. And by doing so, you're only going to set yourself up for a better future and a better longevity and a better life moving forward. If you don't understand it, you just don't care, you're going to set yourself up for problems later. And I don't want anybody to go through that or deal with things unexpected, etc. So it is what it is. I'm not your dad. I'm not telling you what to do, but from experience, I'm telling you things to think about. So that being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.